Psst. Psst.
We're in pre-production. What's up, everybody? It's your girl Candace Rose, and here we are back with another video. So this video, as you can tell from the way it started, I'm in pre-production for my next project. So in light of that, I'm going to talk to you about what pre-production is and what it entails as a whole. So pre-production is before the actual production. So the actual production bubble is the act of actually shooting and making the movie. So when you're on set, long days, tired and just working. But, then you have post-production, which is after the actual production. That's when you get into editing and all of that jazz. But pre-production is everything you do in preparation for production. So we're talking about the script, we're talking about casting, we're talking about a treatment, we're talking about scouting locations. All of those little things come together to make the production happen. Oh, and the budget, of course, because nothing gets done without the money. So, without talking about too much about my specific project, I wrote a script, right? This would be my writing debut to the world. And for, this first 15 pages or what have you, it's going to be, I wrote it, rewrote it, took things out, added stuff, flipped it upside down. All of that stuff, got people's opinions, got people to read it. And yeah, what I will say about this part is take very good care of the structure and your characters, and think about your characters all the way through. Character arcs are very important. All of that. You don't want to make anybody, a one-dimensional character and they need to be a three-dimensional character. You don't want to do that. Now, there's tons of videos about character development and, creating the depth of your character. A book that I read personally was Save the Cat. It's one of the more renowned things. People talk about the book all the time. It taught me about script structure, and honestly, it will help. Now, in terms of actual formatting, again, there's a lot of resources out there, but there is a specific way to write a script. And I would say make sure your format and your structure is together. And I think you're in a pretty good spot from then. And then you just have to worry about the characters. So, which is not an easy feat either. But yeah, once you have your script, it's time to move on to casting and crew. Okay, so for casting, there are a lot of ways you can go about casting your project. So if you have a main character in mind, who does that character have the best chemistry with? That might help you with who's going to be your supporting actor or actress. And maybe it's not somebody they worked with before. You might have to do a couple table reads to figure it out. If you don't have anybody off the top of your head. Maybe it's somebody who is looking for a little switch up in what they've been doing. Maybe they've been doing skits. Maybe they've been doing comedy. They want to move into drama and, other genres and kind of expand and that sort of thing. So if that's the pool of actors that you're working with, you got to make sure that you cast accordingly. It might be a situation where if it's a rom-com, mine isn't a rom-com, but if you're doing a rom-com, you might want the love interest to be a little taller than one, be taller than the other, or you have an idea in your head about what kind of couple you wanted them to be visually and stuff like that. All of that comes into play, and these are things that you need to keep in your mind when you're casting, because honestly, it's only going to help you bring your vision to life. Yeah, and so for mine, for instance, I already knew that I was going to cast Prince, who was in my previous short film, to be the lead actor, and I knew that Karan was going to be my DP. So it's just a matter of working out the schedules and that sort of thing. So sometimes it's a schedule thing. Somebody's not available. You got to figure it out. Like, are you going to postpone your project, or are you going to figure it out? Like, you got to, being a director is very much a lot of problem solving. Directors, producers, DPs, it's a lot of problem solving and figuring it out. Yeah, so without further ado, next we have the treatment. The treatment is very, very important. I feel like people don't talk about treatments enough. The treatment of your film is so everybody who is working on your film with you has a clear idea of what you're looking for across the board. So it is everything that is in your head pertaining to this project on paper or in digital print, however you present it to everybody. That's the treatment. The treatment is everything, all the ideas you have on how this is supposed to look, feel, and sound on wax, so that everybody else gets the message. And they'll probably ask you questions accordingly, and that'll be great. The more questions, the better. And if you have the answers, even better. Share them. Let's get on the same page so we can get this ball rolling. I'm talking about the look of the film, the feel of the film, the genre, so we know how to light it. The look in terms of color grading, but it could also be in terms of lighting. The set design. Now, if you're on a smaller set, you don't really know too many stylists or too many set designers, creative directors. Set design is something that you would probably be taking over, but it's good to have that on paper so that you have an idea, and so you did the work mentally to, you can refer back to what everybody else is expecting. And so the actors, you can send the treatment to the actors if you're not providing them with costume, then they can figure that out. But as much as you have in your head on paper as possible. I wanted to talk about locations next, but this is when things get a little, a little tricky. We're going to talk about budget for a little bit, right? So theoretically, nobody should be coming out of pocket. In a perfect world, everybody's getting paid and nobody's coming out of pocket for anything. I know when you're first coming out, there's a lot of instances where people aren't getting paid. They're getting paid in footage they can put on their reels. They're getting paid in, having another project in the books that they can show off if you're part of the crew. That's what it is. But I do think that bare minimum, please feed your cast and crew. Please. At least do that. Whatever shoestring budget you have, make sure you pay for locations. Make sure you pay for food. And make sure, transportation is something that is manageable and that is something you can help out with if need be. Now, I live in New York City. I'm at the privilege of living in New York City, so it's not really hard to get places. However, if there's a situation where it's a little hard to get to, maybe I need to rent a car. Maybe I need to tell them to meet me at this place and we all take an Uber together. Maybe that's the solution. But, help people show up for you as much as you can. Help the actors do what they need to do by keeping them in the loop of what you're doing, and help the actors get to where they need to be at as best as you can. And then take care of them, right? Especially if you can't pay them, and you're working on a barter system rather than out of payment, then help them out, feed them. Feed everybody. That's everybody loves to be fed for free. Now, it's going to hurt your pockets, but they're doing you a solid. Do them a solid too. So for location scouting, that's what we're going to talk about next. Location scouting, you're going to go on all of these websites that charge by the hour. You're going to look at Airbnbs. You're going to reach out to these people. You're going to see what you can and can't, get. If you can, maybe you need to be in a restaurant, like ask them, instead of being in a situation where you're now like trying to get a quote to shoot in there, send them a nice little email and say, hey, one of your slow hours, I'd love to like shoot something. I'm trying to shoot something. Explain about your project, what you're trying to do, and say, listen, I really don't need anything. Offer to buy something and just say like, hey, we'll pay for this and take it to go, but we really want to shoot at one of your back tables during your slow hours. It won't cost them anything, and hopefully you get a situation where you can say, you get a yes. Are you going to get no's? Of course. But keep sending those emails, reaching out to people. Unfortunately, you're probably going to have to pay for a few places. So just, try to be as cost effective as possible. Okay, so after you're done all of these things, right? You're casted, you got the crew set up. Now you have to start setting up dates and things of that nature. The best way that I've found to do this is to take the script, go right into how many locations you need, who's going to be at each location, because maybe you can bunch some things up. So each location, theoretically, if you're working on a budget where people have to prioritize other things over your project, yes, try to do things together as quickly as possible, which would help with as communicative as you are with everybody. The more you communicate, the faster things can move. So make sure you communicate with everybody about everything. If I know that Prince and his co-star are going to be in 3 scenes together and they're all in the same place, we're going to try to knock that out. Like, you're going to need all this information and they're going to ask you a lot of questions and you're not going to have anything booked until people say yes. And you have to get confirmations before you spend the money if you're doing low budget, or else you're going to have to pay for another day. So get confirmations, make sure you're organized, make sure you have your shot list and everything together, because you're going to need that. Pre-shoot day, make sure you have a shot list. You need a shot list. It's going to keep you moving quickly. You won't have to think too much. You're going to get your shot list together. These are the shots I want for this scene. Cool. You can get extras that you felt in the moment, but you need these. Make sure you get your safeties. Make sure you get multiple takes of everything. It's going to be a lot on the back end, but you're going to be happy because you aren't going to have to do reshoots and pay for reshoots. I'm telling you, if you do all the work on the front end, the back end is much easier. Good luck. And I'll see you guys when we're in production or talking about something else. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And yeah, welcome on to my journey.